Alright, so this is another video for all the new sound and style capabilities coming for ProffieOS7. Definitely check out all the videos because there's too much to cover, and I'm going to reference some of the stuff from previous videos in this video. But one of the huge change now for ProffieOS7 is the ability for the style code to actually interact with your fonts, but also to act on its own to do different effects. In the past, so for example, quotes. We have quotes. There's a quote player within my prop file. It's a button combination that you would do depending on if you have one or two buttons. But you actually do some button action, the quote happens. But now we're going to make quotes in effect, which is the first chain. But secondly, the ability now for the style code to not only call sounds, so it can call alt fonts, it can call transition sounds, it can call all kinds of other sounds. We also have the ability for it to actually chain effects. So it's essentially calling an effect as well. So what I've done in this one is I've actually set it up so that after my lockups, I'm going to actually, when the lockup completes, it's actually going to call for the quote effect to play a quote, and it's going to specify which quote plays. And so basically you can now set your style code up so you can have a chained effect where a certain effect then, when it completes or even during that effect, does some other effect. Or it does a sound through the transition sounds or through the alt fonts. There's so many new capabilities that the style code is going to control that we used to only be able to do by making modifications to the prop. So instead of having to change how your buttons work and change your prop file to do all these unique things, we now move that into the style code. So the style code means that every preset can act a little bit differently. So if you like quotes in certain scenarios to play at certain points in time, you can actually set them up. You can set up a conversation in a preset. You can set up a back and forth. You can have quotes happen at different points in the usage of the saber. And then you can set up another preset that has none whatsoever, which is just you using your saber and get around it. So those of you who sometimes want the quote, sometimes don't, sometimes want certain things to happen, by moving parts of this code into the style code, it means that every style will be unique. And it's not going to depend solely on the prop file to make these things happen. So in this particular setup, it's a very simple one, but what I've done is I've set it up so that after I do a lockup, it's going to actually do it's going to say a quote a few seconds afterwards, and it's going to change that quote each time I do the lockup. And I have it set up to play them in a sequential order, but you can set them up to be random, you can set them up to be sequential. You're not limited to just quotes. You can technically chain any other effects you wanted to. You can also, again, use the transition sounds, use the alt fonts. And so let's do a lockup. And this saber's a little tricky with lockups because it's a little bit heavy. So now when I end my lockup,
if you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
So that quote is based on the chained effect. So when the lockup ends, at the end of the lockup, there's actually a chained effect which then calls the quote and specifies which file to play. So if I do another lockup, it's actually going to call a different quote this time.
Can't win, Darth.
So now, this is really simple. I just set it up with those two quotes. You can set up as many as you want. You can set it up so that it just randomly picks them. Again, you can chain any other effects you wanted to, but the idea being, you can actually almost script what you want your saber to have happen in the style code so that every preset can be different and every preset can have unique things happening. And now that we have the ability for the style code to interact directly with the font, we can have all kinds of sound changes, which are what the other videos are on. We can also have sounds played based on specific animations. So there's a ton more with sounds. So the synergy now between your sounds and your visual effects in OS 7 is going to be like never before. So definitely check out all the videos because there's so many new capabilities. You want to see everything that's possible. OS 7, it's going to make these sabers so much more realistic, so much more customizable, so unique to you and what you want. I know everybody's going to really enjoy it, so check every one of those videos out and take your time to learn about what OS 7 is bringing. It's beyond game-changing in my personal opinion. So, see you soon.